Damn it! Never bet the devil your head. Good day, and welcome to another episode of Drew's Book Reviews. Well, I certainly learned a powerful lesson this month, and that's never bet the devil your head. We're going to get into that in just a few minutes, but as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You could also join me on the Discord, that'll be linked below, as well as my Bookstagram. Also, stay tuned to the end of the video. We're going to have an live stream announcement at the end of the video, which I'm really looking forward to, so make sure that you stay tuned through until the end of the video. So this month's Poe reads are what we're talking about in this video. Edgar Allan Poe, if you've been following the channel, you know that I have been going over Edgar Allan Poe's collected works and stories all throughout this year, and it has just been amazing. There are so many Edgar Allan Poe stories I haven't read before, and I'm just loving rereading some of the Edgar Allan Poe stories that I read long time ago, and it's just been a really good year of reading Edgar Allan Poe. And this month's primary focus story, of course, is Never Bet the Devil Your Head. But before we get to Never Bet the Devil Your Head, there's actually just one kind of, I guess you could say, almost sort of an essay style story from this month, simply called The Power of Words. And I thought that was really interesting to kind of read Poe's take on the power of literature and words and stories that we have and that we read about. I mean, if you're on BookTube, you know you love stories. You love a good story, and Poe definitely has good stories, and it's the power of those stories, the words that we write, that can influence us in so many different ways. The power of words is strong throughout our culture and our society, and Poe recognized that in his day. And so he has this kind of story about the expose of the power of words. And I really kind of enjoyed what that story was getting to. And one of the things that he kind of mentions, kind of mixing the idea of religious theology and our religious books as part of the power of words. And we all know that books such as the Bible have had a huge influence on our culture, our societies, and the evolution of society. So the power of words is definitely very strong. And this expose on the power of words really kind of expresses that idea. And I thought that was just really interesting to see read Edgar Allan Poe's take on the power of words that we get from our stories that we like to tell ourselves. That was just a really cool thing to kind of see Poe's perspective on. So I just wanted to, say, hey, that's kind of a cool thing. Check that out, The Power of Words. And especially, like I said, if you're on BookTube, if you love to read, then you already know the power of words. And Poe's expression within his story is just a really cool way to express it. So definitely encourage you to check that out and read The Power of Words by Edgar Allan Poe. Or the main story this month that I want to discuss is Never Bet the Devil Your Head. As I expected from my preview video this month, I expected this was going to be a hilarious story, and there were definitely parts of this story that made me just laugh out loud. I mean, the main character we're talking about, his name is Dammit, and that in and of itself is hilarious. Who goes by the name Dammit, really? I mean, what kind of name is that? And that in and of itself makes it hilarious. And the whole concept behind this story is that Dammit suffered from the unfortunate circumstance of being beat by a left-handed mother growing up. Now, what's funny about this, I'd actually heard this before, and I didn't know if it was just an old wives' tale, or if in fact it was something that was actually believed, but I'd heard the rumor in the past that left-handed people were thought to be possessed by the devil or contain some kind of evil within them, and that's why they were left-handed. And Poe kind of plays off of this idea that left-handed people are by default evil. So just kind of read a quick passage from the story to kind of explain what I mean and what I'm getting at with regard to the whole left-handed thing. So this is in reference to the individual, the character Dammit's mother, and how Dammit was raised by his mother. It says, "The world revolves from right to left. It will not do to whip a baby from left to right. If each blow in the proper direction drives an evil propensity out, it follows that every thump in an opposite one knocks its quota of wickedness in." Which, like typical Poe, when it comes to his humor, it's just funny the way that is described, and the whole concept behind beating evil into a child because the child's being beat with the left hand instead of a right hand. It's just, the whole concept is preposterous. We know that isn't the way it works in reality, but Poe definitely capitalize on that idea within this story, the idea that left-handed people are somehow evil. And if this person ended up being evil, Dammit ended up being evil and inclined to, evil and wicked ways, not because maybe he was abused in his childhood, but because he was beat by a left-handed mother, which in and of itself is a really weird idea. At least is something we'd consider really weird and odd in the modern era, that's for sure. But anyway, Dammit goes on to spend his whole life gambling, essentially, and always betting this and betting that. And he's commented the phrase, I'll bet you the devil my head that I can do this, or whatever he's betting, essentially. So just to quickly cover another quick passage to kind of show the bit of humor in this story that I really enjoyed. This is where Dammit's friend, who is the narrator, is trying to change Dammit's life, get him back on the right track, so to speak, and to be a good and righteous person instead of the evil betting one that he is. I could not help thinking it is my duty to put him down. The habit was an immoral one, and so I told him it was a vulgar one. This I begged him to believe. It was discontinuance by society. Here I said nothing but the truth. It was forbidden by act of Congress. Here I had not the slightest intention of telling a lie. I remonstrated, but to no purpose. I demonstrated, in vain. I entreated, he smiled. I implored, and he laughed. I preached, and he sneered. I threatened, he swore. I kicked him. He called for the police. I mean, I just love how that's put in there. I kicked him. He called the cops on me. I pulled his nose. He blew it and offered to bet the devil his head I would not venture to try that experiment again. So just the way Poe puts this within his stories is absolutely hilarious. And as we get toward the end of this tale, this hilarious spin and this life of betting for Mr. Dammit, there's a situation in which he bets that he could pull off some kind of stunt, and he's gonna bet the devil his head. And I love the way it's described at the end of what happens. I mean, if you know Poe, you probably know what's gonna happen here. But I love the way it's described at the end with the I bet the devil your head, or I bet the devil my head type of thing. At all this, I was much astonished, but I had no leisure to think. For Dammit lay particularly still, and I concluded that his feelings had been hurt, and that he stood in need of my assistance. I hurried up to him and found that he had received what might be termed a serious injury. The truth is, he had been deprived of his head. So, as you can tell, Edgar Allan Poe, as usual, is hilarious. He is just astoundingly funny at times when you read his stories and see what he's saying. I mean, never bet the devil your head. As I suspected from the start of the month, this was going to be a funny one, and it was going to have that morbid humor that Edgar Allan Poe likes to infuse within his stories, or gallows humor as it's called, and just overall hilarious. I have to say that I am really, really enjoying my read of Edgar Allan Poe collected stories and works this year on the Year of the Poe on this channel. Leads us into the stream announcement. So if you're enjoying this Poe content, I know I'm certainly enjoying it. I definitely enjoyed this month's stories. I'm announcing here on October 31st, so Halloween Day. I've scheduled that for 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which may change yet, but at 3 p.m. Pacific Time, on Halloween Day, I'm going to have a live stream where I'm going to do a live reading of Edgar Allan Poe stories and poems right here on the channel. But here's the thing, I want you to decide what stories and poems you want to see me do a live reading of. So, what you need to do is comment down below with what stories you would like to see me do a live Edgar Allan Poe reading of on October 31st. And then, of course, join me on the live stream as I do the live reading of these stories. You could also join me over on Discord, and we could chat about what stories you might want me to do a live reading of on the Discord. Definitely, there seems to be an interest in The Raven and The Telltale Heart, but there are so many stories out there, such as The Cask of Amontillado, and several others that would just be fun to read on Halloween Day. And what better month than October, spooky season, to indulge in some creepy Edgar Allan Poe classic tales of death and wonder and horror. So comment down below, let me know what stories you want to see me do a live reading of for Edgar Allan Poe on Halloween Day, October 31st, and then tune into the channel for the live stream. I'm really looking forward to that. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. And as always, we will see you next time on the next episode of Drew's Book Reviews. Until then, keep on reading. Bye!